Hello, Forever family, and good evening to most of you, I believe, although good morning to some of you who are a little bit closer to us. I'm coming to you live from my office here in Scottsdale. It's a beautiful day outside, so I thought I'd let in some light. Thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you who have met me, you know that I am not shy about talking about our products. And I got really excited because a lot of you have been asking questions specifically related to products that come out of the beehive. Now, you know that here at Forever Living Products, for as long, almost as old as the company, we have had an offering of bee products. And compared or combined with our aloe vera, that is such a synergistic combination of products simply because both come from nature. And so when you combine aloe vera, what you do is better because the aloe vera helps the body take in products and the body needs them. But today I'm here to talk about honey. Now, for those of you who either watch TV or who really enjoy documentaries, some of you might have seen some recent media about the benefits that come out of the beehive. And this got me really excited because, first of all, we have a bee honey, and it's something that I have used in the 5 years that I've been here. It's something that I at least weekly, if not 2 or 3 times, simply because of its. In these documentaries, we're learning both the good and the bad about the honey industry specifically. So I've been getting asked questions about specific tests that we run, how we run those tests, what the results of those tests are, just to verify that our bee honey is pure. Now, why are people saying, why is Forever Bee honey pure? That's a fair question. And your consumer is going to ask this because they probably are watching TV and seeing these news media sources that are popping up and watching these documentaries. Specifically in today's time, people are looking for more natural support for your immune system, and that's completely normal. And here at Forever Living Products, we have a broad range of products for a healthy immune system. For me, bee honey is very specific to that because bee honey has some natural enzymes as well as some properties that provide natural support for a healthy immune system. So honey it's also an amazing option to rub water, or if you like maple syrup, sweetener, and the body uses it differently than it does any other sweetener because the body recognizes the different chemical compounds of our honey and is able to take it in and use it directly where the body needs it most. But first of all, I promised you on my little teaser that I would share with you how you know our honey is pure and the reasons why those questions are coming up. Well, unfortunately, the industry, maybe 15 years ago, we didn't have the technology to test honey for the different constituents. The technology just didn't exist. But today we're learning that there are some honey companies or honey brands that actually are selling what we call adulterated honey. And what adulteration simply means is there's been something that's been added to it to make it less pure. Now, why do they do this? They do this because it's profitable. If you have pure honey and you dilute it with something, you're making money because honey is extremely expensive. In fact, fun fact, did you know that one bee in a year's time producing kilograms and kilograms of honey, it visits over 8 million flowers to get that honey? That's pretty incredible. Think about that workload. The honey bee will actually visit different pollination areas, and they may visit an orange blossom or an almond tree. They might visit an almond tree. They might visit the woods or the mountain areas. You know what the mountains have? We have our Forever Bee honey, which is called mountain honey. They may visit wildflowers. They may visit different areas of different regions in different climates. And all of these variables impact not only the quality, but the consistency of honey. So let's just break that down. Forever Living Products has an amazing relationship with a private family-owned bee company in Spain. Now, for those of you who are in Europe, you know that regulations, sometimes can be really, really tough. But in this case, go EU, because the EU formed a honey directive which outlined the specific testing requirements or the specific criteria that honey must meet in order for it to be deemed pure. So our honey actually comes out of Europe. In fact, it comes out of Spain. Now, I have met with this company in Europe. I was at Forever Direct, and this kind honey company, they came to visit me. They brought me beautiful samples, and they taught me a lot about the honey process and about the way that we get that honey from the beehive. Now, here's something that's very interesting that I did not know, and probably some of you will say, I don't want to know it either, but you need to, because it's important to understand. All right, here it goes. So a honeybee flies around and collects honey. It holds its honey. In fact, a bee can visit up to 6,000 flowers a day and collect its entire weight in honey. So you think about that. Take yourself and your stature and your position, and imagine attaching another one of you to your side and carrying that around all day. That is stressful work. I mean, these little bees are working on our behalf. Bees are also very finicky, and we must be kind to them and treat them with respect. This Spanish supplier is absolutely amazing with their bees. Bees are fickle, and they will leave, and we don't want our bees to leave. We want them to be comfortable. We want them to be acclimated, and we want them to continue to support their hives while they also provide us the benefits of royal jelly, propolis, bee pollen, and forever bee honey. This little bee is a magnificent creature. In fact, the hive is probably the most sterile environment in the world. Now think about that, a sterile environment, meaning completely rid of bacteria, mold, fungus, anything that could assault the life of a bee does not enter the hive. So beehives are actually really clean. Now think about that in today's world where we have a lot of things going around. We want to make sure, especially in this cold and flu season, especially now in cold, we want to make sure that we're bolstering our immune system. And what better way than to take it from the most sterile place in the world, take it gently, not deplete what the bees create and what they need, but take it for our benefit, use it, create it, and send it in a bottle directly to you. So I have to say, even though they don't understand, thank you to our bees. They're amazing little creatures. Sometimes they're scary. I actually got stung this year when I was out on a boat. A bee came up and stung me, and it swole up, and I'm not allergic to bees, thank heavens. But I thought to myself as I was watching it, my first thought was to slap it. And then I immediately paused as I went to slap it, and I thought, it stung me. But it's so natural. It's such a beautiful creature. And so I simply just tossed it off my arm, dealt with the sting with some products that I happened to have on the boat by Forever Living Products, and I went on my way. So this bee, tremendous creature. How it collects the honey. It takes it in through its tongue. It actually has a very long tongue, and it drinks the nectar from the flower. So it gets its tongue deep in the flower, it collects its nectar, and then it moves on. Well, then the honeybee, or the bee, takes the honey back to the hive, and this is where it gets a little, let's just say, hold on to your food here, and because the bees don't. So here it goes. The bees meet each other in the hive, and they regurgitate the nectar into the mouth of another bee. And that bee adds to enzymes and adds its properties because it might have visited a completely different region. So one bee regurgitates the nectar, it puts it in the mouth of another bee, and that bee adds its enzymes, and it continues in this process until the worker bee goes and stores it into a honeycomb, and then they protect it and seal it with beeswax. So honey is very nourishing. It contains properties of pollen and propolis when you actually, when you pull it out of the hive. But I was so fortunate to get to talk to our honey suppliers. I grilled them. You know me, I asked them to show me the reports, show me the difference that our honey is over all the other honey, because there's a lot of honey in the world. And today we are seeing the largest demand for honey that we have ever seen in the history of, well, in the history of forever living products. So that demand means something. People are searching for solutions. They're searching for options. So I actually have copies of testing reports here that include two very important types of testing that I'm getting asked about. So the question would be, does Forever Living Products make sure that our honey is tested NMR, nuclear magnetic resonance, or EMR for pollen? No. Yes, the answer to that question is yes, we do. We understand the importance. We trust our honey supplier. We have been doing business. We are partners with them. And as you know, Rex not only is the kindest man that I've ever met, he is one of the smartest businessmen that I have ever met. And Rex secured a relationship many years ago that has been to your benefit as an FBO throughout the time that we have been carrying our Forever Bee honey. So I have these reports now, and I know that all of you are saying, share the reports with me, Holly. Can we please get copies of the reports? We want proof. I would love to do that, but we can't. And here's why. When I read this, it not only gives me the breakdown of the chemical structure of our honey, but it talks about the specific flowers that our honey comes from. It talks about the specific region. It talks about when it is harvested, which is extremely important. Think about it. When a bee puts the honey into the honeycomb, it's nectar, and nectar contains moisture or water. So the bees, as they pack it into those honeycombs, before they seal it, they flap their wings and try to dry it to get that precipitation out. So honey, as it goes into the honeycomb, is a nectar and contains a little bit of precipitation. The bees fan it down to get it into this beautiful, dense liquid gold. So going back to the tests, I can see exactly when our honey was harvested. I can see the region, I can see the company name, I can see the quantity that we harvest, and all of that information is right here in my hands. In fact, the FDA requires us to register, and the EU honey directive, oh my goodness, you guys talk about stringent. They require us to verify, and we meet all requirements and criteria under the honey directive in EU. Now, I can't share these reports with you because they give proprietary information. You don't want another competitor network marketing company to come to you and say, well, we've got bee honey and it's mountain honey and it's from Spain and it's the best, and oh, it comes from this region. We want a level of competition so that you know when you're promoting our honey to a consumer, that not only are you promoting the most pure honey, but your honey is special and it's harvested at a specific time and it comes from a very specific region, which lends to its amazing flavor. Now, our honey is very dark in color, and some people have said, does the darker the honey mean the less pure it is? Absolutely not. No, our honey is 100% pure. It says it on the label, and you think, yeah, but everybody can manufacture a label. Well, let me tell you, when Rex established the criteria for us to create a label, guys, it can take up to 3 months for our regulatory team to gather all of the documentation required to simply launch a nutritional supplement. So we have requirements that we absolutely must meet and that we are randomly checked on by third-party validators and third-party testing companies. So all of the tests that I hold in my hand, they say Forever Living Products, but they also are 4 independent testing labs. So we trust our honey supplier absolutely 100%. But due to regulations, we're required to test it. Now, we could form a partnership and test that, but we know it doesn't mean as much when we're testing certain products. We know that you want a third-party, independent, unbiased review. And that's exactly what I'm holding in my hands. We send it out to third parties to test it. Now, what are they testing for? Well, they're testing for contamination. They're testing for adulteration. So many companies are diluting their honey with high fructose corn syrup, sugar water, regular syrup, or rice syrup. And again, that's to make them more profitable and you to get an inferior product. But here at Forever Living Products, our honey is 100% pure. Now you can go online and you can find all different ways how to test your honey and find out if it's pure. And some of them are valid and some of them are a little, let's say, marketing hype maybe, or just not actually true. So I'm going to show you today a couple of tests that are really easy that can help you detect honey that has been diluted with some ingredients that you might not want in your diet, or honey that's absolutely pure. So you want to see it? All right, let's go. This is something that's really common, but it's so beautiful to see. All right, I have here a cup of water. It's just simply, it's kind of lukewarm, room temperature, maybe a little chilly just because my office is a little chilly. All right, what you're going to do, adulterated or diluted honey does not hold its form. Think of the difference between honey and syrup. When you pour syrup over a pancake or a muffin or in a drink to blend, syrup is very runny and it also contains an element of water. So water meets water and it dilutes really quickly. A pure honey will hold its form. So when you take our honey and you pour it into this glass, I hope you can see it really nicely. I'm going to pour a lot in. First of all, if it was diluted, you would not see the honey going into the glass. You would not see it. Adulterated honey begins to break down immediately and you would not see it pouring into the glass. It just kind of dissipates and disappears. Now, I don't know if you can see that honey in the bottom. I don't think you can, but it is broken up. It almost looks like honeycombs. It's really beautiful because the chemical structure now has been introduced to precipitation and it's going back to that texture that it was when it was in the beehive. But watch, this is so great. This is my favorite. All right. Honey always maintains its form and takes a lot longer to break down. It will break down eventually, but it takes a lot longer. Watch this. Can you see that? Can you see how the honey, I can literally lift it up and it falls back down. It's maintaining its form. It's going into the water and creating this amazing, beautiful amber color. The water's just kind of starting to change a little bit. But see that? I'm literally picking up the honey off the bottom of the glass because it's holding its form. It's pure honey, and honey holds its form. That's one way of testing. You can do something that's very, oh, actually, perfect. You know my spoon here. Let's do it again, and then you'll know my spoon has been in water, and it's been picking up the honey. All right, another way, it's just the simple spoon test. Honey that has been adulterated will not stick to a surface. So you can see our honey is sticking to the spoon. In fact, I'm going to add honey to this spoon and then I'm going to pour it into the water so that you can see the honey leaves behind a residue on the spoon. Because again, honey holds its form. Can you see that on the spoon? It's not going anywhere. It has coated the spoon and it's dripping into the glass. And I wish you could see that beautiful strand of honey that's pouring into the glass. It holds its form. So now some companies, can you cheat this or fake this? You probably can. But when you do, you actually will notice a slight variation. So even though manufacturers are getting smart and they know that we as the consumer, we're doing these pure honey tests on our own and third-party laboratories are doing tests, we know that we can also add thickeners and other ingredients that can actually cheat the test. But pure honey in its form simply cannot be cheated because of its purity. Now, people can dilute honey, but honey on its own is thick and rich and it's dense and it's filled with the most incredible nutrients, including polyphenols, which are antioxidants. And I think you all know what an antioxidant is, something that fights a free radical, which is designed to destroy cells and destroy the body in a really harmful and aggressive way. All right, let's move on to the final test. And I'm sorry, all I had was this kitchen knife to show you, but I'm going to show you again. Honey contains an element of crystallization. Now, remember how I talked about precipitation a little earlier? Well, our Forever Bee honey, because it's pure, has an element of a crystallization because, again, the bees flap their wings to get all that moisture out, and we do our best to make sure that all that moisture is dried down and the honey is pure, but every once in a while you'll get a little bit of precipitation in the bottle, and our honey has a slight little bit of precipitation. It forms what we call sugar crystals, natural sugar crystals, and those crystals will burn when they are put to fire. So here we go. I'm going to pour some honey on the knife. Now, if you were to try this at home and you were to try this with just a syrup and you add a flame, let's see, to it, and I put that lighter right down on the honey, I hope you can see that, the flame still goes. If this was syrup, it would immediately put the flame out. The flame would not hold. It would douse the flame. So syrup can be detected very, very easily. When you hold a lighter up, you can see that our honey still burns. Can you see the blue flame? I am literally touching the flame to the honey. Hope you can see that. And the flame continues to be ignited. Isn't that beautiful? And look, the honey is barely moved since I've had it on the knife. Now you're going to see it start to slowly drip. Thank heavens I put a napkin down on my computer. Anyway, the NMR and the EMR testing are now more recent and robust tests that are designed to detect adulteration. They're designed to detect the chemical structure of honey and to identify when that chemical structure has been altered. And we can identify even the source. Is it from corn? Is there corn syrup in the honey? Is there rice? We can actually detect a rice molecule and determine if the honey's been adulterated. Now, we don't care about any other honey. We care about our Forever Bee honey, which is why we perform the tests, why we care, and why we have the substantiation to back you up. I'm a mother at first. Above everything that I do, I'm a mom. And this is in my pantry, and that makes me so proud. And you might think, oh, big deal. It is a big deal because I have seen these tests and they're independent and they come right from the laboratory directly to me. They're not filtered through someone who can edit it. And because I've seen those tests and because I know it's pure, I'm comfortable giving my family Forever Bee honey, and I certainly hope you'll be comfortable sharing it. Now let's talk about the holiday season that's coming up. What better gift to give than a product that contains natural sources of polyphenols and rich, beautiful substance that comes directly for the beehive in that sterile environment that contains benefits designed to support a healthy immune system. And 'tis the season for giving and sharing. I really hope that you make this a gift. Honey's expensive. It is. This is not a cheap honey. And as you go out and you start to look at the supermarkets, the grocery stores, and then the little boutiques, I want you to test because honey, the price tag, sometimes tells you how pure the honey is. Honey's very expensive. And I have to tell you that Rex and Greg are so generous with the way that we create our honey because, guys, our honey, we're almost passing the cost along to you, meaning you're almost paying our cost. So Rex and Greg, because they felt it important to have a bee honey, are actually offering this at no profit to them, which again tells you something, number one, about the people who own and run this company, and number two, tells you again about the purity of our Forever Bee honey. Honey's expensive, yes, but when you buy pure honey directly from the hive, when you have it in its purest source, that makes a beautiful seasonal gift to share with friends, family, and really just about anybody. So there you go. I hope you have found this very helpful. It's been such a pleasure for me. Guys, I love what I do. I'm passionate about the company, and mostly I'm passionate about you, passionate about your success. I want you to succeed. And I hope that this has been helpful for you, that you might have learned something, that you might have a little bit more reassurance into the benefits of Forever Living products, but mostly that you'll begin to, if you don't take it already, that you'll start using it, and if you already do, that you will continue using it with confidence and pride. All right, there you go. Sending you the biggest hugs and loves. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will chat with you again soon. Bye.